Here's an AM/FM Zenith solid-state table radio from 1969. This belonged to my uncle who passed away in 1994. And as far back as I can remember, which would have been the early 1980s as far as his house was concerned, this radio sat on top of his refrigerator, and he always listened to the local country music station every morning on it. And he told me that when his wife bought this radio, she gave $50 for it, brand new, back in '69. It just shows how times have changed over the decades. Back then, this radio was $50. Now you can buy an AM/FM radio for $10, but as most of you who watch my videos know, the $50 radio from the '60s is far superior than to the $10 Chinese radio that you'd buy today. Now, this radio's in rather rough shape, but don't really care. It's got some sentimental attachment, and I'm hanging on to it. And it's actually in worse shape now than it was when I got it, because when I was a teenager, this radio was sitting up on a tall shelf in my bedroom, and the shelf collapsed, and the radio bounced across the floor and messed the cabinet up real good, but radio still works. Although I think the speaker mounts are loose and the metal grill kind of has a rattle to it sometimes, but I'll fix that one day. This radio is fairly sensitive. It picks up a lot of stations that modern sets won't touch, which has to be expected from a Zenith.
Other vehicles on the lot, and our prices are slashed. Saves it all in the feel of a mighty rush.
Don't even know what station that is.
Never runs out on me. It now, as we did under that.
Here's our tone control.
Public and State Farm forbids it. And we'll call it losing trust about, not.
Enjoy gourmet pizza.
As you can hear, this radio is fairly sensitive. Let's try AM. Turn this fluorescent light off. You can see on the dial where he marked it with a magic marker to indicate a couple of stations that he listened to.
The harder it is for them to get their defensive call.
And that's where I would be. So, good question.
I think that must be WDIA out of Memphis.
Surveyor, he doesn't. Instead of into General Mitchell.
Get a little bit of a view.
Oh, now. What?
American troops.
Big name. posthumous.
Catfish on the table, lost all my good man. Too much work, not for your health. I could have died drinking.
Okay, there you go, my 1969 Zenith. I'll turn it around and show you the back. There's the back of the radio. And at one time, this had a line clip antenna on it, but at some point in this set's life, that got broken off or something happened to it, and I think I robbed one of the antenna terminal screws out for something else that I needed years ago, so I've got to replace that. Here's the model tag. It's in pretty bad shape. It's also the transistor layout diagram. Let's see, this is a model, looks like Z425W1, so that would definitely indicate the 1969 model year. Okay, I'll pull the back and we'll look inside. And here's the chassis. As you can see, this is a hybrid type chassis, or what I call a hybrid type chassis. It's a combination printed circuit board and hand-wired metal point-to-point chassis. When this set was made, Zenith had already started shifting to printed circuitry. The earlier solid-state Zenith table radios from around 65 to 68 still used a 100% metal hand-wired chassis, but this is still a decent chassis, and it was made towards the tail end of United States production. I don't know when the last Zenith table radios were made in the United States, but I would say 70, maybe 71 were probably the last years. I have a 72 Zenith AM/FM clock radio that's made in Korea, and even though it serves the purpose, it's not the quality of radio that the American-made Zeniths were. Okay, there you go, my 1969 Zenith radio, battle scars and all. Thanks for watching, and more to come later, and I do plan to clean this up and restore it one day. I want to try to get it looking as good as possible, but regardless, I'm keeping it because this was my uncle's and he always wanted me to have it, and it's staying with me. So thanks for watching, and more to come later.